When is it okay to blame your colleague? I know blame culture is bad. I almost never blame anyone else. If there is a bug, even if created by someone else, I just fix it. I don't care who made it happen. However, recently, a critical bug that may have costed the business hundreds of thousands of dollars was found. My manager, for the first time, said my name. It's really due to bad design. He didn't say it to the team, but he said my name and said it to me. In front of powerful managers higher up, like VP of Engineering, Director of Engineering. Therefore, I am being blamed for this bug from the entire team. Yet, the code for this was designed by a colleague. Interestingly, he stayed silent while people were talking to me. Should I stay professional and not say anything? Just work on a solution? Or should I tell my manager that the design of this system was owned and developed by another colleague, but I have no issue fixing it? I accept the blame that I should have noticed the bad design and suggested a redesign. You can say you didn't write it without blaming someone else if you feel they think you created it. So there's critical bug that cost hundreds thousands, but there's no rigorous post-mortem. Was this only discussed also casually? I think it's fine to state that you didn't write that code if it's this big of a deal. Why do they think it's you? Git blame takes all of 3 seconds. Talk it out in 1-1 and suggest a post-mortem during the 1-1 to get his thoughts. If on board, suggest he reaches out to the colleague while keeping you anon to get his thoughts about post-mortem and potentially leading it, or you lead it, but ultimately have a discussion with the team on what happened and how it can be minimized in the future in that post-mortem. Then follow up with the manager a day later about how this will is being communicated to the higher ups. Just say you didn't introduce it. Not your code. Don't accept responsibility for work you didn't do. This is what Git blame is for. Office politics are the worst if you're getting called out for something you didn't even do and you don't feel like you can openly speak your mind to provide clarity on what happened. It might be time to look for another employer. Was he blaming you or just telling you why the bug existed? That doesn't sound like he blamed you. TBH, it doesn't seem like he's really blaming you to me. It does feel like you're being defensive about not owning it though. You should always try to be professional, but maybe bring it up in a 1-1 so your feelings are out there and you aren't building up more resentment. There is Git blame for a reason, lol. No business failure is ever due to the actions of a single developer. Somebody higher up is at fault here. The person who pressured you to write code faster than was responsible. The person who deprioritized testing and validation. The person who didn't think efficient rollback was important. Etc. etc. Somebody higher up is an idiot. And that is who cost the company hundreds of thousands. Not you or your colleague. If your boss knew it was bad design, why didn't he stop it from shipping? Throwing another developer under the bus is just playing into their hand. Don't do it. The team owns bad decisions. The PR is there for everyone to look at. If bad code goes in, the team is to blame. If you are the senior and he is a junior and the overall design does not work, then potentially yes, you would take more of the blame if you signed off on the design. If you're a man and there is a woman present, always blame the woman. It will always work. If you're a woman, it doesn't matter what you say. Saw some woman in CS. Also, loads of research and statistics. Git blame, you're fucked. I wasn't the one who implemented this particular solution. I'll have to meet with the developer who did and analyze where this solution came from and find a better implementation. First of all, fucked up company culture to be assigning blame in public to people at all. Second of all, you're missing details. Are you and the coworker peers? Are they lead? Are you lead? You said they designed the code. Did you do the implementation? Did they? You had a bug that cost hundreds of thousands due to bad design. No bro. It happened because untested or poorly tested code was running in prod. That's a process issue, not a design issue. Re-blame these things happen. There's no point in a witch hunt. Say you didn't write it. But also start pushing for a process change that involves actually testing code. Referencing this incident as a justification. The best managers take the blame and share the credit. I think the culture in the US is to blame others early and often. Believe me, David, I want all of the credit but without any of the blame. Steve Carell as Michael Scott. The Office. You don't have to blame anyone. You can just speak to your boss one-on-one and say, hey, you called me out for this in front of everyone. But I didn't write that. Then your boss can go run git blame to confirm. Sounds like the manager already started the blame game when he called you out like that in front of everyone, rather than accepting the L for his team. People, even managers, aren't stupid. They generally know the real story. Sometimes office politics requires this sort of nonsense. But hopefully it won't count against you. Are you the lead for the project? Was the design not reviewed by anyone? Who is responsible for making sure code is not going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in losses? Not enough information to say whether or not you should be blaming anyone. I would say multiple people in the team worked on the code base. The process can be improved. Blah blah blah. The entire team should take responsibility of it. If it's cost my job or bonus, then I would point out whoever introduced the bug. You're a fool. In that meeting you should have looked right at your colleague and said you did that part right. Now it's probably too late and they'll think you are just trying to get out of trouble. I would say this isn't my code, but I'm willing to help resolve the issue. Where I work it's practically expectation. Lol. I would resign and send a mass email to everyone. Instead of trying to deflect blame. Just draw their attention to a made-up bigger, imminent and omniscient threat. And only allude to it. Don't pin it down. Say things like I wouldn't even be coding right now if I were you. A keylogger is very easy to install or the dark is upon us. My go-to is making up a fake nation-state threat actor. And I'll blame my bugs on them. It's not blaming. It's called clarity. You don't have to take blame for someone else's mistake. I'd document everything clearly with evidence and send out an email copying higher-ups that here's what happened and why it was not your fault. We are taught as kids at an early age to take responsibility for things we did do and be assertive when it's something we didn't do. Yet as adults we are told by corporate, which is backed by fuck all sociology or psyche studies, that we cannot do it without it becoming toxic. This just ends up with people thinking they can get away with shit. Exhibit your colleague. It's time we stand up and ask for sources on this whole notion of no blame culture. If you try and pass the blame, it will only make it look more like you were to blame, except now you're also a snake. Just take the hit and keep moving.